Hey team, Claire here from My Mortgage, and today I just want to look at a couple of options around floating versus fixed when you're considering selling your property within the next 6 to 12 months. So there are quite a few people that are approaching us at the moment with the intention to sell their property potentially around Christmas time or even sometime into the new year. So there might be sort of a 6-month period there where they look to market, sell and settle that property. However, they've had a fixed rate come up for review, so what does that mean for them and what should they do? Well, let's have a bit of a look at some of the numbers and what that might look like. So at the time of recording, we're looking at about 5.5% for 6 months or 1 year fixed. And the floating rate is sitting at about 6.85. We can talk about maybe 6.5 because we'd probably be able to get you a bit of a discount on that as well. So for every $500,000 of lending, there's actually about a $3,500 to $4,000 difference between that 6.5 and 5.5% interest rate over each 6-month period. So what does that actually mean? Well, it means that if you fix for 6 months and you consider floating for 6 months, the difference between those two periods of time and the difference between the rate will be about $6,500, which is pretty significant. So what are the options and what are the risks? Well, generally when you're looking to sell a property within the next 6 months, we'd recommend you float. However, with floating rates so expensive at the moment, more and more people are happy enough to take the risk of fixing. So what does the risk actually look like? Well, if you break your fixed rate within a fixed rate term, so if you break at 4 months when you're fixed for 6 months, the bank will look to recoup their cost of that final 2 months of loan repayments, depending on what they could lend the money out for at that time. So what might that look like? Well, it's pretty difficult to say because every bank actually looks at break fees and early repayment adjustments based on the wholesale rate that they're buying money at the time. So it's pretty hard to get that exact. But generally, if rates continue to go up over that 6-month period, so if you fix today at around, let's say 5.5%, but the rate goes up to 5.75 for 6 months in a few months' time, and you end up selling before you intend to, then it's actually relatively unlikely that you have break fees. Overall, it's always best to get someone to have a look at your situation and give you some advice. The risk to you might be that it just gets way too expensive for you to actually purchase if you actually hold that lending across that time. So we really need to be looking at the pros and cons for you and your situation. If you're looking to sell and potentially buy again in the next 6 months, have a chat to us. We can get you a pre-approval and we can also look at your situation and how that might play out over that time and give you some advice about fixing versus floating. Hopefully this was helpful. Would love to work with you. So if you're keen, book straight into my calendar using the link below, or you can jump onto our website www.mymortgage.co.nz and click on the Contact Us page. Talk soon.